everybody, welcome back to Andertons TV. Pete and I are slightly more spread out here.
And in the wrong seats, bro.
I know.
So if you are watching this and thinking this is a different dimension, a different timeline, no, it's not.
Largely speaking, we're taking the opportunity to show a new product today, which is Victory's PowerValve 200, which I do have. Yeah, I am a shareholder in Victory Amplification, so cards on the table. You know, I'm obviously have a vested interest in you liking this, but I will try and be as unbiased as possible. It is a hybrid valve and solid state power amp in a very compact box with a few other features as well that we'll go into, but kind of aimed at people who've gone down the modeling route and would like to be able to hear their modeler, you know, any volume, whether it be home use or I think it's 200 watts total out of here. The concept with PowerValve was to design it with a valve in it, so it has a circuit that Martin Kidd designed called the Valve React circuit. It basically sits before the power section, and the idea is to just give you that feel, that sort of thump and sort of sag that guitar players have become familiar with if you've used real valve amplifiers. And then the second part of this video is also to somehow demonstrate to you that despite how clever the technology is with IRs and cabinet emulations and what we've got with FR cabs, and we've got two of the best-selling FR cabs here, it's still a different sound if you try it through a regular guitar cab. So we've got a very small guitar cab here from Victory and a more traditional sized guitar cab here. Everything you see here has got a 12-inch speaker in it. I know that looks crazy small, but there is a 12-inch speaker in there anyway.
I know what you're talking about there.
Now, here comes the difficult bit, because the nuance of hearing cabinet differences and that thumpy, saggy thing of a valve amplifier is very much an in-the-room experience. So we've got lots of microphones in the room, some of which you can see, some of which you can't, that we're attempting to recreate a room sound. Obviously, you're going to listen to everything through the same set of speakers, right? You're wearing a pair of headphones or whatever it is. Yeah. So to some degree, what you hear is a sort of a scaled down version of what we'll hear. The first few run-throughs, I'm just going to literally switch 1, 2, 3, 4, or we might go 1, 2, 3, 4, or we might go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to tell you, right? But I will do it in the same order each time. I've got a quad cortex here. We've got the stock Fender Deluxe 64 combo with a Celestion 1x12 from the official Celestion IR pack that we've downloaded in here. So that's going to be our first run through. Any reverb that you hear, we're leaving to add in post, right? Because if we add reverb and room mic as well, it all becomes a bit of a wash. So we've got no reverb in here. I'm then going to run the same thing with an overdrive pedal in front of that. And then I'm going to run a Marshall 2203 emulation with the official Celestion 4x12 cab through here. You're only going to hear the cab emulations through the Fender and the Laney. And obviously I'm switching the IRs off completely when it's going through a regular cab. So it's a bit like you're the blindfold, you know, person in this video.
Blindfoldee.
And I kind of just want you to go, oh, okay, that's interesting. That I liked here, that I liked there. I really want you to try and make your own mind up. And then Pete, I really want Pete to be, to just have his opinion. And I think I know which side Pete's opinion is going to be, but that's fine. This is a very opinionated video, effectively. So without further ado, let's run through our first selection. Everything on the actual cabs is all flat. And as I said, everything that I've done on the Quad Cortex is stock and flat. And by the way, if you don't own a Quad Cortex, this all applies just the same if you own Tone Master or Helix or Kemper
Belton,
or anything. And by the way, when we've done this comparison, there'll be towards the end of the video, we'll just zoom in very specifically about the features on this. We might use this perhaps with a couple of pedals as well. There's another use for that because this does have its own emulated output. But for the majority of use cases, I'm fully expecting players with a Quad Cortex or similar to still be giving their sound man the emulated outputs here, to still be recording using your emulated outputs. This is not about don't use your emulated outputs. This is just what you're going to hear in the room. Obviously, if you're an in-ears person, You can stop watching now and go do something else. This is irrelevant.
You stopped watching already. Most people stop watching.
But the reason I think we pulled the tiny cab out is we're really trying to get across that you can have an on-stage option.
Smaller?
That's as small as that.
Smaller than these two.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Let's go, Mr. Pete.
Yes.
Okay, that was your first round. I'm going to do it in the same order again, but now I've added the stock TS808 tube screamer in front of that Fender amplifier.
Yeah.
But I've kept the IRs the same.
IR!
To recap, there you heard two cabs there with an IR on them, two FRFR cabs with an IR on them, and you heard two normal cabs going through the PowerValve 200 with no IR on them. That's what you heard. Okay, final run through. We're going to change the model to a Marshall JCM 800. Going to leave the tube screamer on in front of it, and I'm going to change the IR on the Fender and the Laney to the official Celestion 412, and still, there's no. I'm not doing anything. There's no IRs on either of these. Not changing the knobs or anything like that.
Pretty loud, man.
Yeah, we're gunning them all. We've got reasonable volume because, again, trying to capture a room sound, whatever. So, okay, so that's your three run-throughs. Totally clean with an overdrive pedal, overdrive.
So let's do that again. We'll just do a little bit of up here, like, so we can hear the top end of the speakers, because I think that's a valid little thing. So let's go back again.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the first one. Just want to add that in there, Lee. Just want to add
great.
That in there.
Okay.
Some of the high notes, you know.
Now is the time to sort of make your decision. What did you like the sound of the best? As soon as you introduce some mild overdrive, my preference was to go to the traditional cabs, and then as soon as you're on the really heavy sound, my preference by some distance was the traditional cabs. But
I agree completely.
Which is now the reveal. So do we just
let's
reveal?
reveal it then.
Okay, just to keep things simple, right? All I've done in each order was go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Easy.
All right, so first one is the Fender with the 12-inch speaker. Second one was the Laney. The Laney, by the way, is in its FRFR cab mode. There are some, it's got additional emulation elements in there, which we haven't used. Number 3 was the little lunchbox cab from Victory. And number 4 was the traditional wide-bodied sort of wooden cab from Victory. And actually, in fairness,
open back.
This cabinet here was really, this is in here just to be almost, could be any cab, right? Yeah. This could just be your favorite Engel, Boogie, Marshall, whatever. If you've got a favorite cab, imagine that's that one. The other element of the PowerValve we never really touched on, or we haven't talked about yet, is the valve element to it. Now that you've got the reveal, what sound do you want me to go back to using to just focus
do the clean Fender sound, because I think that's where it gets closest of all of them, you know.
Yeah.
Then the sound is the closest.
Clean Fender, again, doesn't really matter which cab I demonstrate this through, I can switch. Interestingly, the valve react switch that's on the PowerValve 200 here was originally added. There was a concern that, like, what if the valve fails and you're mid-gig or whatever like that? So you can switch the circuit out and it will work like a traditional, like a Seymour Duncan power stage or whatever. It'll just be a solid state 200 watt amp. But what it turned into being was the best demo feature for, like, what does the valve actually do? So we can go, here's no valve react circuit. And here's the same thing with it.
It's amazing.
So, in your words, because I still
it's
think
night and day, man.
I think that's what the player will feel.
Yeah.
The listener hears a bit more fatness and probably some more compression, maybe. Maybe a bit of the top end comes off. But I think it's the player, especially a player who's played valve amps all his life, will go, it's night and day.
That's the one. Yeah. So what we are doing now, right now, is that we are running into something digital.
Yep.
Right, so this is what essentially I would classify as a hybrid setup. So like Rabeer's using, for instance, he's using his QC with real amps. So he gets the vibe and the feel and the sound of real speakers and the valve sag and all that different stuff. But he's got the prolific amount of options you can get with that and different things. I really can feel that extra low end and that extra warmth in it. You say hybrid, I would class, I suppose it is hybrid. It's an all digital floor unit. Yeah.
It's a Class D power section in there, so very lightweight, very efficient. The D doesn't stand for digital. Keep saying this, right? It's just it's a solid state switching power section.
It's weird they call it D, isn't it?
It's because A, B, C, D,
class,
yeah.
D class.
Anyway, it's a solid state power section. It has a preamp circuit with a valve in it. And what's really interesting, and another feature that I really like on this, is a variable input gain with some LED metering on the front. Yeah. So you know, it's so important with a valve to get it, to push it.
Yeah.
So you can absolutely crank the input gain of that to match the device that you're plugging into it, so that you know you're always at least getting that valve to do something.
Yeah, these are quite heavy things as well. I mean, that's really heavy compared to something like this, where you actually have not just a power that's the valve in there, which gives it a certain feel for a field player like me. You also have a real speaker in there.
Yeah. I think what we're really trying to do is go, this video is like, do you need IRs if you're going to run it through a normal cab, or can you just run it through a normal cab and it sounds fine? So that's kind of, and you've heard it, you can hopefully make the decision. If you land in the camp that says, oh, do you know what? I think I actually do prefer the sound with the IR switched off and just a normal cab. Yeah. Your options then are, go and find the guitar amp that you've probably owned for 20 years and is in a cupboard. If it's got an effects return or a power amp input, just plug into that. That's the same basic thing.
The other option is, if you have a cabinet already and you don't have a head, you can buy something like this, and you can use that with this, and you get the feeling of a guitar amp.
So let's just run through a couple of features again on the PowerValve 200. So you can see its size. It's actually sitting on a prototype of a little sort of L-shaped bracket that was made for the NAMM show.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that is now going to be sold as an optional accessory. So if you like the idea, it's only for this cab.
But Lee, this has got lights on it.
So if you've got the lunchbox cab and you buy the PowerValve 200, the little bracket is designed to sit under the handle, clip over the back, and kind of just angle it up. But that's not what it comes with. So normally it would just be flat on the floor.
Can you use it on other cabinets as well? Will that be able to?
There's a lip on the back of the bracket.
Yeah, that'll fit on there. That'll fit on another cab. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Blame him if it doesn't fit.
No, it
but
looks
anyway,
like it.
So then we've got input gain with the input level. I honestly feel that is one of the most important features on this, because how do you know? Like if you've got a volume control on your digital device, how do you know where you're supposed to set that to get the optimum output out of your power amp, unless you've got some control and some metering?
Yeah.
We've got 3-band EQ, resonance, body, and presence, pretty much like a bass, middle, treble kind of thing. To get the best out of this and the best out of this, I wouldn't leave it flat. I would dial in a sound that was right for it.
But those cabs are so different.
There is, like I said, the valve react circuit you can switch on and off. The output level is there. There is a separate headphone control. So if you're literally thinking, could I just use this as part of a pedal board setup? You absolutely can. There is an analog speaker emulation with a balanced DI on the back that Rabir and Martin Kidd worked on for months to try and get as close as they could to a kind of a generic, good sounding guitar emulated output.
You'll hear that later on.
And that emulation is always on for the headphone output.
Yeah.
It's switchable on the main output. So if you want to use the XLR output to go to a preferred IR loader before you go to the stage, you can do. This is all slightly irrelevant if you're using this kind of product. This is more about if you're using a board setup with no speaker emulation on it.
Do you want to just go through it all four?
Sure.
Because the clean one is the one that's really close, right?
Yep, so that's the Fender.
Yeah.
I tell you what we'll do, and then the Fender with a little bit of overdrive. I won't do the really heavy one, but you've heard all that. The Laney now.
Yeah.
With a little bit of overdrive.
Amazing how they're so different.
They're so different.
Even though to be fair to the tone master, I think it sounds really good.
Yeah.
And it's got treble, middle, bass, and cut. So you have some tonal shapeability. Shapeability, is that a word? I've just made that up.
I think if you go back and you watch the opening clips again, my personal opinion was the Fender beat the Laney on the first two settings, and then the Laney began to come into its own on that much higher gain sound.
But even then, there's something lacking that it's not. You can hear it's not a real speaker.
Yeah,
in my opinion, you can just tell.
Small cab. A small cab with a bit of distortion. Big cab. Big cab with some distortion.
Big cab with distortion.
No, hang on. There we are. If your personal preference is one of the other two, that's fine by me.
If this makes you feel the best when you're on the stage and you think that's the best thing, then that's good for you. Even if it's psychosomatic and it makes you feel like it's better or it sounds better, then fine. Then that's what you should do. And for me, real amps, real speakers makes me feel better. Right,
we're going to hook up a tiny little pedal display, plug it into this now, and show you what it sounds like with pedals and what the emulated output sounds like. Okay, just to show you another use for this, we've put on the table here the world's simplest pedal board. This could be massive or as simple as this. It really doesn't matter. So we've chosen an Origin Effects Revival drive because it is an overdrive pedal with a preamp vibe to it and reverb. And that's it.
That's it.
Imagine this could be my pedal board with 20 pedals on it. Could be your pedal board, whatever. And then that's going into the PowerValve 200, and we're running the two cabs just the same as before. I'm switching between the two cabs anyway. This gives me the opportunity to perhaps show you some EQ on here, dial in maybe a sound specific to the smaller cab, and then I'll show you the emulated output separately. But in a live application, the two will work simultaneously. So again, Soundman could, if you wanted to, have the emulated output. It's completely analog and not trying to do clever things. It's just a sort of an EQ filter designed to give you a ballpark cabinet sort of sound. Starting with the small one, and again, we've kind of gone back to a close miking rather than room miking. Maybe you'll hear a bit of everything, I'm not sure, but it's a better way for you to hear exactly what the cab sounds like. Anyway.
This sounds good, man. Give it a bit,
I'll tell you one thing I will just tell you about. I'm sure this will be explained in the manual. The input metering goes from green to yellow to red, traditional thing. Now, normally, if you're on your hi-fi, red would be bad. On this, red...
in a car, red light. Stop.
This is just how hard you want to push the valve. If you want more character of a pushed valve sound, go into the red. It's not a bad thing. If you want less character of a pushed valve, stay in the green and the yellow. All right, but as I said, it's all about how much it's hitting the input of the valve rather than necessarily what the power amp in this is doing. Okay, let's just do a bit of EQ. I mean, if we took a bit of mid-range out, put a bit of extra bass end in. just remind, I should say as well, I think the EQ and the input gain are interactive. So if you take EQ away, it does drop the signal going into the valve, so you might want to compensate for that on the input gain. Let's just remind ourselves again, what is the valve circuit doing? Here's without. Here's with.
It just makes me happy.
I knew it. It's like you can just see the corners of your mouth just turn up slightly when you've got the valve in.
It's like, and it is just, can I just point out, no offense to anyone who uses a QC, and I do it myself, and I've used it all, Kemp and everything, that, and that just feels so much better. I don't feel like there's a lag in it at all, which I always feel with these, that it's a minute. Everybody goes, oh, Pete, you can't feel 3 millis. You say, I can feel it.
Let's hear the other cab. So that was the small one. Here's the big.
And it just cleans. This is me playing full whack on the volume, but just playing softer. I'm not arguing with anyone, but I will argue all day long that this is just better feel-wise. I mean, if you're not used to it, fine, I get it.
Yeah, this will go from the same sense of pushing that valve, whether you want the output volume whisper quiet because you need to play at home, or whether you want the output volume at 200 watts. It'll run any impedance speaker.
How loud is that in here? Sorry, I'm just.
How loud could it go?
I'm more interested in
right?
what it. I'm more interested in that than all the specs.
Turn the
interested in how it feels.
Turn the mics off.
111.
111 dB. Okay.
That's plenty.
As anything we've ever had in here.
Plenty. Plenty. It's plenty.
Let's listen to the emulated output. I feel bad almost ending on this because it's probably its weakest feature, or it's the feature that this was just added almost as an afterthought. The sense is that the primary customer for this is someone that's already got their emulated output sorted out. But here is something, if you're in a little band and you want the lightest, smallest little rig, one of those, little cab, 3 pedals, sound man gets the XLR, you hear yourself on that. It's small, right? Really, really small. Yeah. But anyway, so here is,
I can identify that.
By the way, the headphone output and the cab sim output are all controlled by the same thing. Look, that's it. So in the UK, these are made in the UK in the same place that Victory make all their amplifiers. It's £499. I think in the US it's going to be $599. They should be in stock on the day of release. Cabinets
wise. How much are these? Sorry, just.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. Are they £400 to £500? Aren't they? I think between £400 and £500. I mean, the FRFR cab world. You can buy a Vailton FRFR cab for 200 quid. You can buy the Tone X one, which I think is about 700 or 800 quid. There were Friedman ones that were even dearer. Yeah. There's a wide range in here.
But it's just so interesting to see.
Over here, it's £500 for that. It's £350 for the small cab, and then it's if you
Okay.
if you can have a bigger cab because you don't need that space, you go with whatever you've got.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people will just have a cab at home that they can just blow the dust off and go happy days. Let's do
419,
this.
479.
Okay. So yes, this is a more expensive solution. But then having said that, though, this is UK made, and you're paying a little bit of a premium for that as opposed to the Asian made stuff. So, do you know what? I ended up thinking that I sort of played it down, that analog output, and then it sounded all right to me.
Sounds all right, man.
You can do some EQ, put some.
It sounds fine. It sounds absolutely fine. That's all you need. But that, two things into the big cab,
Yeah.
I'm happy. I can do gigs with that all night long.
That is a proper small setup, isn't it? that and 3 pedals or something like that. Yeah. All right, that's it.
Please
we
like
are
and subscribe.
Done. Please like and subscribe. Yes, you know, and like I say, if you finish this video with a totally different opinion to Pete and I,
fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We still love you.
Yeah.
Anyway, see you next time.
Yeah.
Au revoir.